Hey, everyone, and Happy New Year. I am so excited to get started with a new year and talk to some new businesses. We are operating Shop Local Rhode Island, and we will continue to do that. But let's jump right in because I know that so many people are making New Year's resolutions. And before you make a New Year's resolution, I think it's really important for you to go and figure out what's going on inside yourself first before you make these leaps out into the world. So let's leap right in and talk to Erica Nunnally. I'm probably saying it wrong, like everybody says my name wrong, but she is the owner of the Medicine Women's Cabinet. And I am so excited to talk to her today because I have a lot of questions. So let's bring on Erica and just get started. Hey, Erica, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. So first, did I say your name right?
It's Nunnally.
Nunnally.
Yep.
My apologies, because everybody says my name, Jatari, completely wrong. So I'm sorry about that. But Erica, and I see on your website that you introduce yourself, Erica, with no last name. So that made it a little bit easier. So let's jump right in. So you are the owner of the Medicine Women's Cabinet, and you have an amazing background in how you brought your herbs and the work that you do into your life and created a career around it. So I'm just going to give you the floor and say, let's just start talking about how that began.
All right. So the wild and crazy backstory that brought me to wellness is really that I got really very sick. So from college, probably right all the way through till now, I had been practicing yoga, but it was more of one of those on and off again relationships. And so after I was diagnosed with Crohn's, right after my oldest daughter, my first daughter, was born, things got really, really rough. And so I realized I needed to focus a little bit more on what was going on inside versus being pulled left and right by the things outside. And so I worked with my doctors and I was like, you know what, all these medications and all these upcoming surgeries just didn't feel like it was going to be a good long-term solution for me. So my gastroenterologist was awesome. He's like, all right. What really changed everything for me is he looked at me and he said, well, we don't have two of you. So we don't know if you were better before the medications or if you're better after. And I was like, huh. I said, well, the experiment, right?
You better get this right. You know, it's so funny that you say that. I am about to publish a book, and a big part of the book is I've experimented with my own life.
Yeah.
And as a yoga instructor myself, I know that so many people come to yoga either through physical injury and hurt or heartbreak.
Exactly.
And so it's such a great inroads to going inside and starting with yourself. And it's probably the best teacher, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And that's where it all kind of started. You know, so we slowly weaned and I just really started diving into my practice, noticing what I was eating. So becoming more mindful with what was going in so that I knew what I was, having to deal with. And then eventually, I did bring myself back into wellness, back into balance. And so I sort of bring that. It was a long journey, but I think it took me a long time to get as bad as I was. So I had to give myself just as much time to get myself back to wellness. And at some point, Reiki came in when my youngest daughter was diagnosed with cancer. She's alive and well and fine now. But that was gifted to me so that I could work with her while we were in chemo, or while she was in chemo.
Wow.
And so again, it was more of like, illness kept bringing me back around to connecting inward, connecting to sort of those higher frequencies from within. And the herbs came in my journey just to really connect with my own roots, to understand a little bit more about where my people were from, just my own, history, my familial history. And
Yeah, you're a seeker.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
it seemed like it would balance me back out. I had spent so much time up here, sort of in that universal energy, that mind, body, spirit energy.
Yeah.
And I needed to be regrounded because there was still something that wasn't quite as whole. And so that's where the herbs came in and just connected me right back to the earth and back to my people. And I feel whole. So that's what the Medicine Woman's Cabinet is actually based on. So getting those 4 pillars of wellness.
That was actually one of my questions. So I wrote down 4 pillars of wellness, and I wanted to present that as if, this is the new year and this is the first week. I felt it yesterday when everybody came back to work, and I feel like, so we're all in this new year resolutions. What are we going to do? So how would you approach someone that comes in to your business or contacts you for a consultation and says, I want wellness this year. This is what I've experienced, blah, blah, blah. So let's talk a little bit about what are the 4 pillars? What should people be thinking about before they embark?
Absolutely. So the 4 pillars of wellness are mind, body, spirit, and nature. And in my own journey, I finally realized that I was really focusing on mind, body, and spirit, but I was leaving out nature. And nature,
I think most people do.
Yeah, right? But nature, right, refers to how we're being. So are we easily agitated, easily angered? Are we, filled with anxiety? So that's our nature, right? But it also deals with the environments that we're keeping, including the people that are around us. So the environments that we choose to be in and the people that are in those places with us. And then, of course, actually being in nature itself. So it's really big. And it's one of the largest parts of how we're being in the world today, and is neglecting that. So if someone comes to me and is like, hey, what's going on with me? Then we take some time to look at those 4 pillars. Have you been attending to those mindful practices? Is it eating? Is it meditation? What are the things that we can bring in? On the body end, it might be yoga. It might be, I might look at you and say, oh, you know what? You need to see a massage therapist or a chiropractor or something of this, dealing with your body.
Is that what you see right now? You're absolutely right.
And we're on the screen, so we're like this, right? So
right.
All of that, right? So being embodied. And then your spirit, right? So this could be that, we're working on your energy. So we could be Reiki. It could be making sure that you get outside a little bit every day. And that leads us right into that nature piece. How are you really being in the world today? And attending to the things that really keep you at that higher frequency. What foods are you bringing into your body? How does your body respond to them? And are you going to accept them? So I get a lot of folks who come in and be like, oh my goodness, I eat dairy and it makes me sick every time. And I'm like, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah. It seems so obvious though, doesn't it? But you can see what happens in our life. We just keep doing the same things that we've been taught to do, and people just go along. And with you being diagnosed with Crohn's at one point in your life, I mean, your life trajectory could have been completely different if you accepted it in the way that I'm not saying anything against Western medicine or anything like that. It's just what's right for you. Yes. And that, I think, is where it gets back to. Right. So tell us a little bit about, before I move into your business work, I mean, this is your business, but do you find that there is a strong group of wellness practitioners that you work with in the area, in the Providence area?
Yeah, there are. It's originally the Medicine Women's Cabinet was actually going to be a space for all of the wellness people that I do work with to be in one area, so that when I had clients come in that had situations that I felt would be better served by a naturopath or better served by an acupuncturist, then I could say, oh, speak to so-and-so, they're right here.
Right. Yeah.
But things shifted and pivoted, and that word 2020
Yeah.
pivoted. And
you're right.
so we figured out a way to sort of bring the wellness out to my clients rather than having them come in. So it's a little bit different, and I'm still working out the kinks and trying to settle into a really good groove. But ultimately, everyone that comes in here, they'll come through me, and we'll have a really nice conversation about what it is. What are your goals? How have you been living? What's going on? And we kind of take it from there. Sometimes it goes like into ritual or ceremony, and sometimes it's like, all right, these are your 4 medicines that will be for this season to bring you back to wellness, and we'll see how it goes.
And so, when people look at, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with this question, you can just say, nope, it's one, every person is different. But in terms of like the expense of what your clientele is investing, let's say, if I said like, $1 sign to $4 signs, like, is there a range? Would you say like, oh, if I had to be listed in a directory, not that we're doing this on Shop Local, we are not, but I think that some people might look at what you're doing and say, oh, this must be expensive, or this is, I
would say that we're like in the 1 to 3 range, because it does depend on how you decide to move through your own journey. So you could sit down with me on Zoom or just on the phone, and we could have this talk, and I could say, all right, it looks like just some yoga would be perfect for you. And so then you would be paying for, private yoga with me, and we would meet as frequently as it seems appropriate for you. But it could be, to me, sort of the ideal way to approach yourself, even if, let's say 2 of your limbs are doing pretty well. Let's see if we can work with all 4 of them at the same time.
Wow,
so
yeah.
That's all the 4 medicines, and that's Ushta medicine. And so you come into that for a season. And so that's $200 a month. And so you're with me every other week, you're receiving lessons every month, you're chatting with me on those opposite weeks that we're doing actual session work. So your session work might include yoga or Reiki or ancestral lineage healing, that you'll also be receiving a tea every month, that either that tea might be an actual medicinal tea, like an herbal medicinal tea, or it might just be for joy and connection to whatever's going on in that season. So it's January, so the tea might be something that would include ginger for more warming and all of that. But everything is really tailored specifically to each person.
Wow, I really love that. It's like, yeah, wow, beautiful. And so we keep going back to, March 2020, everything closed down. So tell us the difference between your business at this time last year and where you are now in terms of what has happened. I mean, it's hard for me to say what has happened in the last year, because Lord knows everybody has experienced a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, what have you watched in your own business?
In my own business. Well, this time last year, we were holding an acupuncture and restorative yoga workshop. And so there were probably about 20 folks in this space. laid out on bolsters, and my partner at the time, my acupuncture friend. So like I said, I wanted to be able to partner with different wellness providers so that people could get to know them. We shifted it from acupuncture to acupressure and Reiki. And so people just kind of blissed out. That's what was happening here. We got to really hold the space, really and hold people, and it was beautiful. And then, a few weeks later, it was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen right now. So there was sort of this scramble to figure out how to do some things online, but I didn't really know how to do, it's a very hands-on experience here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I decided to focus instead on the one aspect of my business. So we decided to focus really on the herbs. And so we created this subscription, and those are called Dirty Herbal Remedies. And they are blended medicinal teas that we design specifically for you. So you do this intake form, and we still have a wonderful conversation. And then we design a tea for you, and we send that out to you every single month. So we were focusing really on just sort of the herbal aspect while I tried to figure out how do I do the rest of what I do.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been going pretty well. We have a few people on there.
I think that's a great strategy, because a lot of times, especially in a business where you need the person in front of you, or you work with them closely, then how do you connect with them? And you have a beautiful product that allows for that connection. So to create that kind of flagship offer around that piece, I think is really, and I've seen this Dirty around. Can you describe a little bit what that product is?
So Dirty is really, it comes in your first subscription, your first mailer comes in this little box. It'll have your mason jar, it'll have your scoop, and then literally there'll be a bag of 1 month's worth of your tea. So whatever it is that we design for you, so we being the rest of the herbalists that work here, you'll be matched with one herbalist. So they're kind of like your go-to person. And we put that together to meet whatever your needs happen to be. So, it could be, we get a lot of folks who are dealing with sleep disruptions. So we deal with that, a lot of thyroid, blood pressure, diabetes, these types of things. And so we create a tea that you'll have, and you take it every month. So it's not a tea where you are, you steep it for 3 to 5 minutes and then you drink it and you go. So this is a medicinal tonic. And so you steep this overnight so that you can get all of that nutrient out of the herbs. And so you drink it the next day. It's about 32 ounces, and you drink it throughout the day, depending. Sometimes we'll tell folks to, have half in the morning, half in the evening. It kind of depends on what's going on. But anyway, so that's it. Now, herbs are a slow medicine. So it tends to, some people will see a shift within that first month, but it really kind of takes hold after 3 months. So we encourage people to go for a full 3 months so that they can really get that benefit of that medicine. But what's nice about it is that there tend to not be any additional side effects, so we can work with whatever medications you're already on. We'll work with whoever your doctors happen to be to make sure that we're staying in line and supporting whatever work they're doing with you. So that comes to you every month. And then every season we check in and we say, how's it going? Have you changed anything? Has it gotten better? And if it has, then we shift your herbs. So it might just be shifted to match the season, and it might be shifted to match wherever you are in your journey of wellness at that time.
That is great.
Yeah. So
and if someone could say, I have the perfect person in my life, and I could give it to say, here, go do this for the next year or something.
Yeah,
that is really great. So how have your customers responded to this shift in the work that you've done?
They have been fantastic, actually. I'm like,
that's good.
So understanding and really willing and able to shift. I think everyone in 2020 was like, well, okay, it's kind of on brand for 2020. We're going to try this now.
Yeah.
So
That's
they
kind
were,
of cool though, right? I mean,
yeah.
that's one of the things I love about the shop local work is that the customers of the small businesses know that those are the safe places for them.
Right.
And they know that the owners of small businesses are really caring for their customer group, that their environments are safe and clean. And you can, there are so many beautiful things that come out of this Shop Local Rhode Island piece that I didn't even expect in 2020. I started this while I was sewing masks for a group of friends, and I'm thinking, God, what's happening out there? Nobody knew what was going on. And I kept thinking of all these businesses that, like yours and like the others that we have on the show, that just have to completely shift and communicate that shift to all of their customers and potential clients. And it's really amazing. So if you could say something to clients that don't work with you, I mean, you've said a lot of amazing stuff. I'm already send me some of that tea. I really love that. I just want to understand like how people can find you. How would they approach the process, and where are you located?
Yes. So the best way to find me is on our website at themedicinewomanscabinet.com. So it's WOMANS. So me being the medicine woman, the medicinewomanscabinet.com. And really just send me an email.
Yeah, that's good. All right. That's super easy.
I want to do this. I'm looking to start taking care of myself. And where do I start? So, but you can also just go under if you know that you're like, I'm looking for yoga, or I'm looking for some ancestral lineage healing, or I'm looking for some Reiki. You can also just, kind of go a la carte and click on healing sessions on the website and head in there and say, schedule an appointment right there. You don't even have to talk to me, and I'll meet you on Zoom. Or if it's, a distance Reiki, we can do that by phone. So I can be really flexible on that. And if you're interested in some of the herbs and you're like, you know what, I don't necessarily want a full blended tea, I just want some of the herbs, you can go onto our site and just buy, nettle. So we have tiers for people. It's like, I already know what I need. Let me get some nettle and some milky oat tops and I'm good. And we'll just send those to you, or you can swing by and pick them up. But if you would like me or, one of our herbalists to sort of carry you through this journey, then that's what we're here for. And we're happy to do that.
I love it. The thing I love, especially, so I run a business. I'm a master coach, life coach, and I am a yoga instructor. Nice. And so there you go, mind, body, spirit. But I love this idea of having kind of that guide for all of it, that kind of goes, but like I do things one at a time. You're holistically looking at your clients and customers and taking it all in at the same time. I mean, I do that. I'm not competing with you. I'm doing, it's a very different and cool way to approach this. We know in yoga, this idea of samskara, this emotional internal scarring. And I think that when you have ways to kind of cleanse the internal parts of your body energetically and physically, like it's so powerful. And I hope that our listeners are hearing that from you, because it is a really important piece, I think, as we move together on our path here in this crazy world.
Oh, and I didn't mention, we are located on Charles Street here in Providence. I haven't, since the last lockdown, we haven't had clients physically here in the space yet, but I have become very, very good with working with folks online. So, hopefully soon we'll be seeing folks here again. But right now it's sort of more of the, my team comes in and we prepare teas, and this way we know that the space is, you know, still safe and clean, and we're not worrying about extra coming through.
Right. It's so important. Yeah, that's really great. Well, I do want to thank you for taking the time this morning. I really enjoyed listening and hearing about your business. And on the Shop Local Facebook page, you can see, you know, post what you want to post and share your wins and get help from other businesses. And we look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and for just making this available to all of the businesses here in Rhode Island. It's just incredible, truly.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, that's my offering. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day. You're watching Business Over Breakfast, and we look forward to hearing your story. That's what we do at visualthrive.com. We tell your story.
Beautiful.